AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Friday, opening day, out at the box. College baseball is back. Great opportunity to visit with our guy T-Dub, the Batman. Of course, former Tiger great. Hear him on the SEC Network. See him on the SEC Network. He's with us now. T-Dub, how are you, man?
Great, Matt. How's it going?
Doing awesome. Why are you laughing?
Well, because you always have these great introductions, man. I love the Paul O'Neill. I played against him for the Yankees in right field, and I didn't know if you played the song yet, the Barbie Girl, the song that you usually do. Did you play that?
Yeah, we dropped that.
Okay,
Hit it, Muse. Hit it again.
Man, I love it. Let's be in a good mood. There it is.
Yeah, we got it, man. We got it.
Okay.
Did we decide if we had a drop for Todd last year? Were we going to get you one?
What's that?
Did we decide if we were getting you a drop last year? Didn't you want one?
Oh, no, man. I just said I like your intro. I mean, If you give me one, I'd be very, very honored. But no,
okay.
I mean, good.
Let's honor this man. Do you want Batman or do you want something else?
The Batman, that's crazy. They would play that back in the box, when I would come to the plate. So it'll bring back good memories, that's for sure.
We'll do it. I remember it was Kenny Kleinpeter, who was the organist. Was also the organist at Most Blessed Sacrament Church where I attended. So I got Kenny Kleinpeter at the box and at church. It was awesome, All right, we'll do it. No, we'll do that next time you're on. Hey, you won a national championship in 93 and then had the challenge of trying to repeat in 94. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for Jay in this team trying to go back-to-back?
Well, Matt, as you know, it's a different era. I mean, they rebuild now like crazy. Like, when Skip Bertman put that team together in 91, they lost most of those guys. And for Skip to rebuild as quickly as he did in that day and age when there wasn't any transfer portal where you could transfer to schools without penalty, you could get some JUCO kids in, but you couldn't miss. You had to hit with the guys you thought could play. And then we win it 2 years later in 1993, similar to this year, right? I mean, 2023, they win it, and last year, 2025. Yeah. So 2 out of the last 3 years, LSU's got it done. It's a different era. The short answer is they've got to replace their weekend staff. You know that. They got a new catcher, so the battery will be different all year long. What kind of difference that makes, we'll see. LSU's got an entire new infield, except for Stephen Milam playing short. All the 3 outfielders are back. So there are some question marks. But, man, I mean, it's just a perfect storm at LSU, which we all think is one of the best head coaches in college baseball right now, and Jay Johnson. And Nate Yeske, one of the best pitching coaches, along with the transfer portal where everybody in the country wants to play for LSU, the NIL money that's coming down. And LSU is not the only school. Obviously, Texas and A&M have similar NIL. But ultimately, this perfect storm that we have at LSU where, they're going to rattle off a lot of national championships in the next 10 years. And that's not to put any pressure. I said that before they won the first one in 2023. But just the way things are going and with the ability to get as much talent as they can. I mean, you got major leaguers sitting bench at LSU. So it's going to be fun to watch for the foreseeable future.
I think, listen, conversations I've had with scouts and different people around, They say this is Jay's top to bottom, his most talented roster at LSU. Would you agree with that?
That's hard to say when you got Paul Skeens on a staff with Ty Floyd, who struck out, 16 in Omaha.
Yep.
And you start looking back on some of these school teams that they've had, under Jay Johnson but even with Paul Maneri.
No, I just mean it under Jay. This would be Jay's most talented.
Yeah.
You had Skeens and Cruz at the top, but you had a lot of program guys that helped you win that national championship. And last year, I don't know how many big leaguers we're going to see off of last year's squad. I mean, you obviously had Cade Anderson and Einstein at the front of your rotation, but man, this one feels a little different, Todd.
Yeah, I think that they've definitely replaced some parts. Again, the first base, second base, third base still remains to be seen. Obviously, Trent Caraway, the Oregon State transfer, is supposed to hold down the third base spot. Is supposed to be a stud. And it kind of goes down the list. But that's what you're going to see with Jay over the next few years. Is again, everybody in the country wants to play for LSU. You go out and get them and see who plays out. But then again, the other question mark I would put on it is, how do they respond to the SEC, these transfers that they've gotten in, and I assume that Casey Evans and Zach Cowan, although they have only 5 starts between them last year, are going to try to hold down the weekend rotation. They'll slip right into those roles with no problem.
Todd Walker's with us. You mentioned Jay Johnson being among the best in college baseball. If there was anybody that could have challenged him maybe a year ago in that conversation, people might have said Tony Vitello. He's off to the Giants. How do you think Vitello's absence impacts Tennessee this year?
Well, looking at just on the surface, they lost some big parts on the staff, and they've got a few bats, but you could say that about any school in the SEC. Tony Vitello, as we all know, was a fireball man. I mean, he made an incredible impact on a college baseball team. We could have a whole conversation of the difference in running a college baseball team and running a major league professional baseball team. But, I think that it'll make an impact. There'll be a different type of team. The personalities will be different, than that fireball that we knew and loved in Tennessee. But ultimately, I think, I think they're going to be fine. But it will make a big difference.
How do you think that might work? I don't think I've asked you this yet. How do you think that might work with Vitello in San Francisco?
Once you get to the big leagues, you become one of 15 Chiefs and not enough TPs, as they say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you sit in the table and Tony Vitello is great. Don't get me wrong. But now all of a sudden he's one of 12 voices, You remember Madden, Joe Madden with the Cubs quit because he couldn't make the lineup card out. The front office and everybody else trying to tell him his job. And that's what you see primarily in Major League Baseball now. It's all analytics and stats and, the actual baseball knowledge and what we actually see on the field doesn't mean as much anymore as it did 20 years ago. So I think he'll be fine. It's definitely a step that Tony Vitello had to take, right? But if we learned anything from Nick Saban going to the Miami Dolphins, it's a different cast of characters when you start telling big leaguers what to do.
The other coaching change that's really going to be fascinating this year is Brian O'Connor going to Mississippi State. This guy's won a national championship. Maybe some feeling around the game that maybe the game had passed him a little bit. But, man, it looks like he's got a hell of a talented roster there and a guy that knows the game. What's your thoughts on what year one looks like in Starkville?
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. They got their best hitter back, Ace Reese, at 350 last year. They've got some good transfers in, some starters that are coming back. O'Connor had a tremendous run. When you think about those northeast schools like Virginia, I mean, how do they compete in a baseball world where in the South and in the West you got great weather year-round? Guys are playing baseball year-round. Up north, I mean, you just don't get out enough. And for Brian O'Connor to do what he did at Virginia, win the national championship in 2015, he spent 22 seasons up there, man. And, I did a regional there one time, and one stat stuck out with me is over those 22 years, he had 7 sets of brothers that played for him. And when you have one brother telling the other brother, yeah, you want to play for this guy, that tells me all I need to know about Brian O'Connor. So I think they're going to love him there in Starkville. It's a different deal in the SEC, as we all know. Now you're just one of 16 teams that can really play. But I think he's going to be great.
Todd Walker's our guest. Couple more for you. Is there a team in the SEC that we haven't talked about yet that you think is interesting to watch for whatever reason this year?
I think our boy Mike Bianco has a real chance this year. They got 10 or 12 of their pitchers back from last year. 75% of the innings that they threw last year are back, including an ace that I keep waiting on to just have that dominant year in Hunter Elliott. So when I always say that baseball's pitching, you got to look at Ole Miss as a team that really has a shot to do what they did in 2022 when they won the national championship. Will Liebert comes over after 15 or 11 starts with Missouri last year. So they've got a staff, I think, that's capable at Ole Miss. So they've had a few down years after they won the national championship, but I think this is a year that you'll see Ole Miss. They won 16 games in the SEC last year, so it wasn't like they had a down year, but I think they have a real shot.
Todd Walker, former Tiger great, of course, SEC Network. You just jacked from Milwaukee coming to the box this weekend.
Man, the thing about this non-conference schedule is, when they play the 16, 17, 18 games, most of the SEC is going to be 16-2, 17-1, that kind of thing, padding some stats, and so I really don't get that fired up about it, although I know the players are because they're ready to get started.
Yeah, man.
But I don't get fired up about it until mid-March when we start the 10 weeks of the SEC schedule, 30 games. Then you find out who's for real, man, and I really think we're loaded. 7 of the 8 national champions have come from the SEC, and we're loaded again.
Todd, if Jay Johnson wanted to schedule an 8-year-old YMCA team at this point, I wouldn't bat an eye. That dude's got it figured out, man. Just let him do what he does. You know what I mean? Just line it up, figure it out as you go. Jay knows what he's doing, man. Two titles in 3
Matt,
years.
I mean, if you listen to him talk, and I know you have some of these press conferences, he says all the right things. Like I was listening to him today, and I just couldn't help but think, I mean, everything he says almost sounds scripted. Like he knows exactly what to say. He gives Skip Bertman all this credit, and he calls him one of his mentors. And then just the stuff that he talks about with his players, and he might even get baited on a few questions, and he just knows how to answer them. So when I talk about a perfect storm, you got a coach that lives, breathes, eats baseball. Nate Yeske and on down the list. Jordan and the rest of those coaching staffs, just Monica, just fantastic. But man, and then the wealth of talent they got around them. I mean, baseball is gonna be fun at LSU for the rest of our lifetime until something dramatic happens.
Fingers crossed, man. We'll look forward to seeing you, man. It's about that time of year. Look forward. We'll link up when you're in Baton Rouge, man.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, dude. That's Todd Walker, all-time great, man. 12 retired over at LSU. Of course, a college baseball Hall of Famer. Just wealth of resource and knowledge. Always love talking to Todd. He always gives you different perspectives and ways to think about how to approach the game. His answer on Vitello was really good about the 18 Chiefs and the 1 TP. That's going to be interesting to find out. But he's 100% right about Jay. Jay goes into the season with his bullet points. He knows what they are, and you're not going to get him off his mark. So, and that's perfectly fine, by the way. That's not a criticism. It's just like Jay knows what the things are that he needs to hit. So he does an interview. He knows what he's going to be asked, what the talking points are that the fans are going to be interested, and he's got it. Boom, boom, boom. So when they start playing games and you start to see the evolution of this team, that's when it's going to really be fun. Because just I don't know that there's any sport that is an evolution throughout the season quite like baseball. And in Major League Baseball, it's 162, but in college, it's a 56-game evolution. And you are consistently learning about your team and who fits what roles and who you can trust, with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th when you got to get a knock, or you got to put a ball in play to the right side to get the runner home from third, or a situational lefty to get the ground ball double play. Like, you learn who you can trust in those spots. And that's the evolution of a baseball season. You want to figure that all out, put yourself in the best position to make a run once you get through May into June. And there's just nobody better. There's nobody better in the country at that than Jay Johnson. I mean, you have the best baseball coach in America in your dugout, and you will always have a chance because of that. All right, it's after further review. Glad to be home and glad to have Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com. Not going to lie, man, I tell you all that all the time. Like, you can taste the difference. And when you make drinking natural artesian water, like Evermore, part of your daily life, right? I mean, that's the water that's in your Keurig. That's the water you're drinking every day. You go spend 4 or 5 days in San Francisco and you're drinking whatever that was that they had there. Oh, it's noticeable. Delicious, natural product, healthier alternative for your family. Drink Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. All right, quick break, y'all. We'll continue. Monday shows brought to you by Relief Windows. A couple things that I got to touch on. Super Bowl ad meter, that's always fun. Which ads from the Super Bowl rated the best? We'll get to that. Auto locks. Jimmy will be here in about 30 minutes from right now. I do want to react to the conversation Roman Harper and I had on Friday that's got a lot of play on the World Wide Web. So we'll do that next on AFR.
After further review.
If you're thinking of putting in a pool, y'all, like, ship shape. It's time. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. If you want to be swimming in time for pool season this year, you need to get cranking. Because it's not like you call Duplessis today and they have a pool built tomorrow or in 2 weeks. You got to go through the process, right? You got to design your pool. You got to get on their schedule. They got to dig. Then they don't ever skip steps in the process. They don't rush the process, which is why they can offer you a 10-year workmanship warranty. You know, Derek does it the right way. Like, for example, whenever they do their tiling and their coping or they plaster the pool, they don't go to the next step until they let that have time to complete that step in its entirety. So DuplessisBuilders.net. Start today. You want to be swimming by the summer. DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
March Madness is heading to Vegas, and LouisianaSports.net is sending one of you plus a friend with it. We're giving away a 3-night Las Vegas getaway from Wednesday, March 18th through Saturday, March 21st, just in time to watch all the madness. Hotel stay and flights are covered, and all you have to do is enter to head to LouisianaSports.net and click the March Madness getaway link. Sign up now before our March Madness Pick'em launches. You can get yourself entered, and you could be watching the tournament from Vegas instead of your couch. Winner will be announced on Monday, March 2nd.
Go sign up. Why wouldn't you? Like, we're literally sending people to Las Vegas to watch the tournament. Flight, hotel, what are you doing? Go sign up. LouisianaSports.net, LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. So we, by the way, sincere thanks and appreciation to everybody who helped us put together our coverage from Super Bowl Radio Row last week. Awesome. Love going to events like that. Where else in the world do you have that much access to content all in one place? So it's great. We're going to continue doing that forever, or at least as long as I'm program director. We're going to keep going to stuff like that. Muse and Paul did a great job here. Rivers did an awesome job on site, helping book everything. I mean, cannot sing her praises highly enough. The reason that functioned the way it did on site was 100% because of the work she did. And all the guests and everything were fantastic. And massive thanks to FMOL Health because they stepped up and sponsored that trip. And, I say this often, but, I hate paywalls. I don't ever like charging people for content. I understand some people don't mind paywalls. And that is one model that works. I don't like that. Again, as long as I'm in the role I am at here, we will never charge for our content. We will use an ad-based model because I believe if you produce good content, then your audience will come consume your content. And then good businesses will want to partner with you to sponsor your content. And then you say to your audience, this is always going to be free, but if you have any medical needs, health issues, whatever, go to an Our Lady of the Lake or an FMOL Health facility. Support our sponsors. And if you don't need them, great. Keep coming back and consume our content. That's just how I believe. That's just my preferred method of how I believe this business should be done. But it takes great partners. And like Relief Windows, who's our title sponsor today, and Brandon and Adrian have been awesome, and They've been our partners. God, it's been a dozen years now. But FMOL Health stepped up in a big way to sponsor our trip to San Francisco, and we're so grateful to all of them, from EJ Kuiper through all the folks at Our Lady of the Lake, Chuck and everybody there, their entire marketing team. I don't want to start naming names because there's so many people, and I'll leave people off. But anyway, very, very grateful. But it's interesting whenever you have like 3 days of just fire hosing content. You don't come up for air, really. It's just head down, go. And so I'm honestly on social media less when I'm there than any other time in my life, because it's just you are constantly in the storm. And it was interesting over the weekend that as I was kind of going back through a lot of our stuff, what actually, popped and what took off, and social and all that stuff, and a lot did. But the conversation on Friday that we had with Roman Harper, a lot of people engaged with that. And there were multiple layers that were great. I loved Roman's an awesome guest. I mean, it's one of the reasons he's on the SC Network and ESPN and everything, because he's great. He's great at communicating. He's honest. He's candid. He was a great player, both in college and with the Saints. The story he told about Ambush was fantastic. Walking us through that, the onside kick in the Super Bowl with the Saints. And then I kind of ribbed him a little bit talking about, he was wearing an Alabama quarter zip, and I kind of ribbed him a little bit like, respect on sticking with your team even though you keep losing 4 games every year with Kalen DeBose. And he sensed we were playing. We've obviously, Roman's come on the show a bunch. We've known him a long time and all that stuff. But, and then he turned, is like, what about your guy? When's Lane going to leave? And so then it became this conversation that he and I had, and the whole interaction about Lane was about 2.5 minutes. And I don't like cutting things down because I want you to have the full context. So actually, I played the full 2.5 minutes on my episode today of Locked on LSU. So if you're not subscribed to Locked on LSU, please do, YouTube podcast, and you can hear in that episode the entire clip. But and I like playing it in its entirety because it's not broken down and you can get the full context of what was said. I don't have that luxury here, but a few tidbits that I wanted to discuss here. One was Roman basically challenging whether or not Lane Kiffin's actually going to have great success at LSU.
I could see him be there 5 years. And when he leaves, it's going to go up in smoke because that's just what he does. Like, he can't help it. But if you guys do get a championship, I guess it's worth it. I just don't know if he's going to win one. It's just so hard. And
so I don't disagree about it's hard to win. And something I told Roman is I agree that Lane Kiffin still has a lot to prove. There's a clip of me from my Locked on LSU podcast, my prediction before LSU Ole Miss this year, that Ole Miss fans love this clip, but I've not backed down from it at all, where I picked LSU to win forcefully. And I did so because I thought LSU had the better head coach. And at the time, with the evidence and the sample size we had, how could you disagree? Brian Kelly was the winningest active coach in college football. He'd beaten Kiffin 2 out of 3 years. The only loss was the game in Oxford, where LSU scored 49 and lost because they had the worst defense ever. But in 2024, Lane Kiffin lost 3 games he had no business losing. Like, this is a part that LSU fans are going to have to reconcile. I get it's all sunshine and roses right now, but that 2024 Ole Miss team was the most talented team in the history of that program. They lost 3 games. Kentucky got their only SEC win. They lost in Baton Rouge when they were a more talented team. And then they lost at Florida because Kiffin had 3 red zone possessions and came away with no points. They lost. Any one of those are wins, they're a playoff team in 2024. But their head coach cost them that opportunity. Can't run from that. However, I think it's also true that as the sample size grows, you can alter your opinion of something when new evidence presents. So something I told Roman was, look, remember when Clemsoning was a thing? Remember that? Y'all remember when Clemsoning was a thing? Oh, and then Dabo won 2 national championships, and nobody says Clemsoning anymore. Remember in the 2024 season when Ryan Day lost to a 500 Michigan team at home, and everybody in Columbus wanted him fired? Oh, and then they went and beat Tennessee, kicked the hell out of Oregon in a rematch, and went on to win the national championship. And now nobody mentions firing Ryan Day anymore. As the sample size grows, you're allowed to change your opinion with new evidence. It's the best analogies I want to give all the time. It's about like dating. Nobody goes into a relationship thinking, well, this is going to be terrible. And you sure don't go into a relationship thinking, I'm not going to take this chance because of how it might end. So from LSU's perspective, you don't think about how it might end with Lane. And so you say, well, we're not going to take this journey, because the same thing was true with Nick Saban as far as him not being places very long. He was at Toledo for a year. He was at Michigan State for 5. He was at LSU for 5. He was at the Dolphins for 2. And then he was at Alabama for 17. I don't know that I could predict Lane Kiffin being at LSU for a decade and a half. Could it happen? Sure. Maybe he does the Saban thing and stays for 15 years and wins multiple natties, or maybe he's gone in 4 or 5 years. I don't know what's going to happen. But that unknown shouldn't prevent you from going on the journey. But as you gain more information, yes, your opinion on someone can change. Just like when you start dating someone, you date them because they have a good personality and you're attracted to them, and then you get to know more about them, and sometimes it doesn't work because there are things you realize as you go through this whole discovery process that aren't good. With Lane, we're learning more about him as a coach. I think he's continued to grow and develop. He's always been a great offensive mind. But I think as a person, you've seen a maturation. As a coach, you've seen that as well. And he just led Ole Miss to an 11-1 season. And that's where the rest of the conversation with Roman kind of took off. This is where I really disagree, because he tried to discredit Lane Kiffin for Ole Miss's success this year.
He leaves Ole Miss, and Ole Miss kind of got better. I wish Lane a little bit more transparent. Just say, look, I can recruit more high school players, and I think I have a better chance of winning a national championship at LSU. And because ultimately, he kind of got lucky. Trinidad Chambliss fell into his lap. Nobody thought your backup quarterback was going to be the guy that actually led you to a playoff run. And so, understanding that, I think Lane looked at that as like, dude, we're having our greatest season ever when nobody thought we were, because everybody thought the year before was going to be the teams. And all of a sudden this year we do. And it's really with a backup Division II championship quarterback that nobody said was going to be our guy. And he's our guy. So we kind of got lucky. So let me strike while the iron's hot.
One of the reasons I don't like playing snippets is you lose context. And what was cut out of that is I challenged him on the Ole Miss was better without him. Like, I don't know how anybody could make that argument when Lane Kiffin is the one who built the roster and built the coaching staff and brought in Trinidad Chambliss and hired Pete Golding and hired Charlie Weiss and built the offense that Weiss called plays for. Like, and are we really impressed that they beat Tulane? They'd already beaten the hell out of Tulane once before. Like, they were in the playoff hosting a home game because Lane Kiffin got them there. Like, he deserves the credit for that. The win they had against Georgia was an outstanding win, where they were losing and managed to come back and win, and congrats to them. What if Lane Kiffin had told Charlie Weiss, no, you can't go call plays? Is it different? Maybe, I don't know. And the Trinidad Chambliss part, to say they got lucky, well, who's the one that scouted, recruited, coached, and played Trinidad Chambliss? It was Lane Kiffin. He could have made the decision when Austin Simmons got healthy to go back to Austin Simmons. He didn't. He stuck with Chambliss. It's a ballsy decision. Can we agree? Like, Simmons was the big, high-profile recruit who was your starting quarterback at the beginning of the year. He gets injured. You put in Chambliss. Chambliss started having success, unlocked something in the offense, and you never went back to Simmons. Like, he got Wally pipped. It's a hard decision to make. Kiffin made it. He deserves credit for, he deserves the credit for that. So, I just think what you see a lot, and ultimately as that conversation continued to evolve, what we landed on really was Roman saying, I just wish Lane was more transparent. And Lane could have communicated better. Yes. I don't think Keith Carter is without blame, because I think he proved to be a weak leader who was very naive in thinking that Lane Kiffin was going to return when I and many people knew that was not going to happen. There's a lot of blame to go around. And ultimately, that's a conversation that'll probably never cease. And the criticism will likely only be muted if Lane Kiffin goes and wins when he's the LSU head coach. And that's something that you have to take this journey to see if he will. And I think it's the right journey to take if you're LSU. He was your top target. You got him. He put together a roster capable of winning. Now he's got to go prove he has evolved as a coach and is ready to go be a championship-level coach because he has not done that yet. But that's why he's here. See if he can. All right, it's after further review. We're brought by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com, WilliamsonEye.com. You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Book that consultation. You know, I always say it's eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. And I think we talk so much about LASIK and the eye surgery, which is obviously a massive part of their business. But eye care and eyewear is just as big. I told you last week, my sister-in-law was having an issue with her eye. I called Dr. Blake. He said, give her my number. We're going to get her in today. Like, if you're having eye issues, make sure you go have your annual eye exam. The Williamson Eye Center is a great place to do that at any of their locations across Greater Baton Rouge. WilliamsonEye.com, WilliamsonEye.com. You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. Jimmy will be here in about a dozen minutes right now for Otter Locks, cruising through this 5 o'clock hour. Come back. Super Bowl ad meter is in. Which ad scored the best? And very sincerely appreciated honor for our staff here at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I want to talk about when we come back at AFR.
AFR.
Finally, got a little bit of a warm-up. I doubt very seriously that the cold is all the way past us. They don't call it the ice box for nothing. LSU baseball rolls around. You know, we're probably going to get a few cold game days out there at Alec Box Stadium. But I'll take 74 degrees on February the 9th every year, always. But anyway, bottom line is, over at Clegg's, it's time to just plant something, y'all. Take advantage of this beautiful weather. Get your hands in the dirt. Time to get dirty. Clegg's Nursery can help. Stocking up with new shipments of plants arriving almost daily. It is time. Just plant something. Perfect time, as we've been telling you, to plant trees and shrubs and fruit trees. If you are thinking about planting rose bushes, now's the time. Imagine what your backyard lined with rose bushes would look like. Oh, Clegg's can make it happen. So buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Going to move quickly here. I just want to give a sincere thanks to our friends over at Barrett Media. If you're not familiar, every summer I go, or spring, summer, I go to the Barrett Media Conference. At least I have the last couple of years, and it's a great industry conference for media. Share ideas and meet a lot of trendsetters in the media world. Anyway, every year, Jason Barrett and his staff, they do this takes a lot of work. They've actually asked me to be a voter the last 2 years, but they put out top 20 lists, so top 20 national sports shows, top 20 TV sports shows, top 20 major market morning, midday, and afternoon radio hosts, top 20 mid-market morning, midday, afternoon hosts, top 20 sports talk stations in major markets, top 20 in mid-markets, program directors, so on and so forth. And our station was very well represented this year. Humbly, AFR was named the number 3 mid-market sports radio afternoon show in the country, which is a great honor. I personally was named the number 4 mid-market sports radio program director in the country. OTB, Hester and Flynn, number 6 mid-market sports morning show in the country. And then our station, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, was number 9 in the country, mid-market sports radio stations. And just so you're clear, when we talk about mid-market, it's kind of stunning to see the list because mid-market is a gigantic gap. Like, you have your top 30, and that's like the top markets. And then you have from 30 to 90, which are the quote-unquote mid-markets. So we're at the bottom of the mid-market list as far as size. I mean, we're talking about Pittsburgh and Vegas and Kansas City and Sacramento and St. Louis and Jacksonville and Nashville, Cleveland, Columbus, big cities. And our little engine that could here like is find an elbow room at the table with these major markets, which is it's humbling to be recognized. Nobody ever it gets into media with the intention of saying, "Oh, I want to win awards." It's like nobody that does movies or anything like that gets into movies, into acting, thinking, "Oh, I'm doing this to win Oscars." You do it because you enjoy what you do, and if the praise comes, that's very nice. So I don't think you get into media for recognition like this, but it is very nice when your peers acknowledge the work you're doing. But mostly, and I mean this in the most sincere way possible, it's just a giant thank you to our audience who's, we flipped the switch on this station in 2010. It was actually late December of 2009. We just kind of ran it on autopilot for a little while just to see if there were any bugs. And I've been here since the day they flipped the switch. And here we are 16 years later, and it's just a credit it's a giant thank you to everybody who listens or watches and has every day for a long time now. And we're such an outlier in this industry because you don't typically see small market radio stations do what this one has done. And that's a product of having great management, starting with Flynn Foster and Gordy Rush and Michelle Southern, who give us the freedom and leeway and resources to do what we do. I mean, like this video studio we're in, we built this in 2017. I mean, everyone's doing video now. Nobody was doing video on a local level 9 years ago, and certainly not building out a very expensive studio like this one. But they had the vision, they believed in it, and said, go do it. And then, obviously everyone who continues to listen every day, and then our great sponsors who make this possible, like I was talking about a bit ago. So, just because you get recognition like that, it doesn't mean you ever stop doing the things you're doing or doing them well. But we'll all be back. Doesn't mean we don't have to come do shows tomorrow. But it's very nice to have your hard work recognized, and it's everyone that's here that maybe even people that work on our post-production of content stuff, who you may not even know their names, but that do incredible work that allow us to have the brand recognition, notoriety, and growth we've had. So very humbling to have this recognition, and really we share it with all of you, with our audience who come here every single day, because without you all listening or watching, we're literally just people talking to themselves in a room. So thank you sincerely for everybody who continues to make us part of your day every single day. Okay. I was going to do Super Bowl ad meter. I got to one other thing real quick before I do Super Bowl ad meter. Parrish Construction and Roofing. We announced this yesterday. We've been teasing the countdown. At Parrish Construction and Roofing, we are giving away $25,000 cash money. We've been doing the cash giveaways before. We started with 5, went to 10. Now we are giving away $25,000 cash, y'all. All you have to do is sign up for a free, no obligation roofing inspection. There is no obligation. There is no purchase necessary. We're not going to hassle you. It's literally just go to the website, fill out the form so we do a free roof inspection. You don't even have to be home. Like, it's just saying, okay, that our guys can get on the roof, walk it, mark it, chalk it. We'll give you a full inspection report. If you have something wrong with your roof, you want us to fix it or whatever, we'd be happy to do that. But there is no obligation whatsoever. We're giving a Louisiana homeowner $25,000. Might as well be you. So go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com to sign up, parishbuilt.com to sign up for your chance to win $25,000 cash. Not a joke, not a gimmick. Someone is winning $25,000. Might as well be you. Parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Okay, USA Today ad meter for the Super Bowl is out. Leading the way, Budweiser, the American icon spot with the Clydesdale and the bald eagle. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. Number 2, I don't think that it could go any other way. Lay's The Last Harvest with the father and daughter on the potato farm. Those two led the way. Muse, Pauly, what other spots caught your attention? What was your favorite, or what other caught your attention?
I really liked the Duncan one with all the old sitcom stars in it.
I thought that was 4.
That one was really good.
Goodwill Duncan?
Yeah, that was funny.
Number 3 was Pepsi, when the polar bear picked the Pepsi.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. Stealing Coke's mascot, making him pick yours.
By the way, there's some big dork in a polar bear outfit walking around Radio Row. I guess it was because of Pepsi.
I was about to say.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
And then there were 2 dorks sitting in tennis chairs, tennis judge chairs. Like, how did you get these in here? They were doing a show.
Like the high ones?
Yeah, go look at my Twitter. They're doing their show sitting in big chairs. Like, this is so unnecessary.
That's dumb. Yeah.
It's very stupid. Anyway, Paul?
I liked the Lay's one like you did. And then the other one I liked was the Uber Eats with Bradley Cooper and Matthew McConaughey.
That was good.
That came in number... I'm trying to find it. It did well. Here it is, 15. Number 15 overall. So, hungry for the truth. The Coinbase one finished dead last. And why are you shaking your head?
Yeah, I was just real confused the entire time I was watching it.
So it was the Backstreet Boys song just with the words. I'll tell you what, it's brilliant. Everybody watched it to the end because you were waiting on whatever it was going to be. And everyone is talking about it as well. And the production value of just putting words on the screen costs you nothing. Now, they probably had to license the song, but other than that, it cost them nothing. Other than brilliant because everybody's talking about Coinbase. You know how many people message like, what's Coinbase? Well, but you find out.
And the karaoke aspect of it was cool too. I mean, it was like a karaoke screen, but I was just real confused watching it. The tight end commercial was good too.
Yeah,
I liked that.
That did well. I liked the Jurassic Park, the Xfinity.
That was really good
when the park got back online. Yeah. All right, we got a break. Final break. Jimmy will be here for Outer Locks next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood, men's sexual wellness, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. I will be over at Goodwood tomorrow. I have to go pick up my next dose of BPC 157. Yes, they do ED treatments. If you're struggling with ED, they can help. Tell you all the time about hormone replacement therapy. Men, women, doesn't matter how old you are, you need to get your hormone levels checked. No person is exempt. As we age, our body produces less of the hormones of how we feel. You want to feel and function your best. Safe, affordable supplementation can get you to healthy levels. Yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. And then peptides. I love how many of you are asking me now about peptides. My experience with them, what you should know. My best advice to you is call Gabe over at Goodwood and have a conversation. Yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. One more time, yourgoodwood.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And we do shutters too.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Outer Locks.
Outer Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Outer, how are you?
Good, Matt. How about you?
Doing awesome, man. Glad to be back. Hope all went well in your Super Bowl bets. There was a lot of them, I know.
Yeah. 6-1 on props.
Nice.
So,
very good.
That was really good. And, split on the game, had the under and the Patriots. So
okay.
There you go. But, the running backs receiving totals over and pretty much everything else under was beautiful, especially the punts. It was over before the 2-minute warning.
All right.
Punt. I had a punt. I was marking notches every time there was a punt.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. The game was awful, but there were plenty of opportunities there. All right. What are we looking at tonight? 2 of the games that you gave up on the website have already been affected a little bit.
The 17-15 UConn at the under 12 timeout. I'm sorry, St. John's rather. Yeah. It's a Patino Bowl. Daddy Patino against Son Patino and Richard, who's struggling at Xavier. But we took Xavier plus the big points in that one, so it went off at
1 minute
15 and a half. I'm not sure what it is now.
It's 13 and a half.
Was 7. Yeah, I don't know if I'd take it now. 7.5 NC State Wolfpack, 6 in a row now for Will Wade after they dropped that bad loss at home to Georgia Tech as 14.5-point favorites. So we think they can hang with Louisville at the Yum Center tonight. And in the late one, Matt, I gave it to you at 1.5. It's moved up now, and I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend it anymore past 1.5 as Arizona going to Fog Allen tonight to take on Kansas.
Yeah, it's at 2.5. We'll keep an eye on it. Maybe get a live bet-in game or something on it. Where are you tomorrow?
We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson.
All right, Jimmy and Charlie, 11 to 1 weekdays. Check them out. Thank you, man.
All right, good luck.
All right, same to you. That's going to do it for us here on this Monday edition of AFR. Thanks, as always, to Relief Windows. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have a great night. Big show mañana. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on AFR.
AFR.
Getting on down the road, let me remind you about Arco Power Systems, arco.com, arco.com, ARCCO, Arco. Hey, Arco Power Systems, incredible business considering what it is that they do. You know, we talk all the time about Generac standby generators, but most of the time we have that conversation, we talk about it in relation to your home. Arco Power Systems, they sell, service, install, rent industrial Generac power. This is for your business, your commercial facility, your industrial facility. What happens when the power goes out to your business? You don't want to find out. Call Arco. Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com. Also got a big event coming up. Need a generator like for lights or portable bathrooms, all this stuff on, at a festival or something. Arco can help you with there as well. ARCCO, arco.com.